Nearly everyone you know uses social media, except for a silent few. The psychology of people that don't use social media reveals a hidden group defined not by fear of missing out, but by greater inner peace, self-security, and independence. Only about 5% of young adults resist the digital tide, showing measurable differences in attachment and stress. But what exactly sets them apart, and what do their lives look like from the inside? Three distinct types of social media non-users shape the quiet minority in a hyper-connected world. Decliners are those who once participated in the digital stream, but decided to step away. Their reasons often trace back to personal turning points, a period of burnout, a mental health struggle, or a moment of clarity about what constant connectivity was costing them. Maya belongs to this group. After years of scrolling, she logged off for good, following a winter marked by anxiety and sleepless nights. For decliners, the decision is rarely impulsive. It comes after weighing the effects of digital life on their own peace of mind. Some people, though, never joined social media at all. The never joined often grew up in households where screens were limited or actively discouraged. Their parents might have chosen alternative schooling paths, like Waldorf education, or filled afternoons with sports, music, or crafts instead of devices. These individuals learn to build friendships and find entertainment offline, sometimes navigating the challenge of being different among peers who organize their lives around group chats and stories. Their sense of self often forms without the constant mirror of online comparison. A third path belongs to digital minimalists. This group includes those who participate in offline-first subcultures, analog photographers, Zen practitioners, and indie musicians, who cultivate community through shared rituals, physical tools, and face-to-face gatherings. For them, connection means mailing newsletters, meeting in dark rooms, or meditating together, not broadcasting updates to a virtual audience. They aren't necessarily anti-technology, but they are deliberate about what they let into their lives. While each group arrives at non-use from a different direction, their daily routines and social worlds look very different from the mainstream. Some, like Maya, remember the pull of notifications and the pressure to perform. Others, raised outside the digital current, never felt that pull in the first place. Digital minimalists, meanwhile, build rich offline networks that thrive on presence and ritual. These archetypes reveal that opting out of social media is not a single story, but a spectrum of choices shaped by upbringing, values, and lived experience. Maya's story, like that of many social media non-users, is shaped by traits that run deeper than preference or habit. Psychologists have found that people who abstain from social platforms often score higher on conscientiousness. This trait shows up as careful planning, self-discipline, and a tendency to weigh choices before acting. Maya's journals from her college years reveal color-coded schedules and a steady routine, habits that helped her resist the unpredictable pull of notifications. Conscientiousness acts as a kind of shield, making it easier to set boundaries and stick to them, even when everyone else seems to be online. Lower extroversion is another thread running through the lives of many non-users. While social media thrives on constant connection, non-users are less likely to seek out large groups or public attention. Instead, they often value a handful of close relationships, preferring long walks with a friend or quiet evenings with family over group chats and comment threads. Maya describes feeling more energized by a single meaningful conversation than by dozens of digital interactions. This preference doesn't signal isolation. It reflects a comfort with solitude and a focus on quality over quantity. Research also points to lower neuroticism among non-users. These individuals tend to be less reactive to stress and less likely to dwell on negative feedback or perceived slights. Without the constant stream of curated updates and online comparisons, Maya noticed her anxiety waning. She no longer measured her worth against filtered images or viral posts, and the pressure to perform faded into the background. Secure attachment, often rooted in early family life, plays a quiet but powerful role. People with secure attachment styles, like Maya, grew up with caregivers who were responsive and consistent. This foundation fosters trust and a sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on external validation. Maya recalls her mother encouraging her to reflect on her own feelings rather than chasing approval from others. These early lessons echo in adulthood, making it easier to resist the lure of likes and followers. At the heart of these traits lies internal validation, a confidence that comes from within. Instead of looking outward for reassurance, non-users rely on their own values and achievements. Maya finds satisfaction in completing a painting, running a new trail, or simply enjoying a quiet morning. The absence of an audience doesn't lessen her joy. For many non-users, this sense of internal validation forms the bedrock of their resilience, allowing them to move through a connected world without feeling compelled to join the digital crowd. Behind every scroll and swipe, social media platforms rely on a carefully engineered system of rewards. The architecture is built around unpredictability. A notification might bring a compliment, a new follower, or nothing at all. This uncertainty is not accidental. Behavioral psychologists call it a variable reward schedule, a system famously used in casinos. Slot machines thrive on the same principle. The next pull could be a jackpot or a loss, and it's the not knowing that keeps players reaching for the lever. On social media, each refresh promises something new, fueling a cycle of anticipation and reward that lights up the brain's dopamine pathways. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that signals pleasure and motivation. When a notification pops up or a post gets a like, the brain releases a burst of dopamine, reinforcing the urge to check again. Over time, this cycle can become compulsive. Unlike predictable rewards, like a paycheck or a weekly dinner with friends, these digital rewards are scattered and erratic. The brain learns to crave the next hit, even if it rarely satisfies for long. For people who step away from social media, the absence of these engineered triggers opens the door to different kinds of rewards. Offline, satisfaction comes from more stable sources: finishing a project, sharing a meal, or spending an afternoon outdoors. These activities offer a steadier, more predictable sense of pleasure. Studies comparing social media engagement to gambling highlight the same underlying mechanism. Both rely on the power of uncertainty to keep people hooked. Non-users, by removing themselves from this loop, often report feeling less restless and more content with the rhythms of everyday life. The pressure to chase the next digital reward fades, replaced by quieter, more lasting forms of satisfaction. Maya's phone sat silent on her nightstand the morning she decided to quit. She deleted every social media app in one sweep, her hands shaking more from relief than from fear. That afternoon, a group chat organized a spontaneous dinner, but Maya never saw the invite. She learned about it days later from a friend's passing mention and felt the sting of being left out. The price of leaving was real. Missed plans, a sense of drifting at the edge of her social circle. Still, she stuck with her choice, scribbling her thoughts into a notebook instead of scrolling through updates. The first week was uneasy, a restless urge to check, a phantom buzz in her pocket that never came. By the second week, something shifted. Her sleep deepened. The anxious loop of checking and comparing faded. She found herself noticing small pleasures: the warmth of sunlight through her window, the feeling of paint on her fingers, the sound of her own laughter. Maya's experience echoes what researchers have found in controlled studies. In a 2-week experiment, 230 young adults limited their social media use to 30 minutes a day. The results were striking. Participants reported lower anxiety, less loneliness, and a steady lift in mood. Even those who slipped past the 30-minute mark still showed brighter outlooks. Psychologist Douglas Gentile explains, "Making something countable makes it easier for people to change their behaviors." Maya's ritual, deleting the apps, enduring the discomfort, and finding new rhythms, became her own intervention. The cost was missing out on a few group dinners. The gain was a sense of calm she hadn't felt in years. For her, and for many others, the science and the story line up. Stepping back from the digital crowd can clear space for a different kind of peace. As of 2023, more than 95% of young Americans use at least one social media platform, yet a small minority, like Maya, choose a different path. Research presented here confirms that non-users tend to score higher in conscientiousness and internal validation, with lower levels of neuroticism and extroversion. Studies also show that stepping away from dopamine-driven platforms can improve mood and mental clarity, as seen in controlled interventions limiting use to 30 minutes a day. However, it remains unclear why some people are drawn to abstention while others are not, and the long-term effects of non-use are still being studied. What is known? Those who opt out often report a greater sense of peace and autonomy, grounded in measurable personality traits and supported by empirical evidence. The psychology of social media abstainers continues to challenge assumptions about connection and well-being in the digital age.